Hello everyone, welcome to the AntePoster channel, and today we are previewing the Japan Cup. We've been off the track for a while since the Breeders' Cup, but there is some fantastic racing taking place over the next month in Asia, and that begins on Sunday with a very interesting Japan Cup. So for those of you who aren't too familiar with it, it's essentially their Arc de Triomphe at the end of the season over 12 furlongs. Brings together normally the best 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in Japan. And this year we've even got some very special interest flying over from Europe too. Those of you who are early birds and are excited to watch this, I think it's 6:40 UK time. So you'll probably be looking to set your alarms around 6:30. But yeah, Daniel, you've been watching the Japan Cup for years. Is it a race that stands out to you? Is it a race you look forward to, or is it growing in interest over time? What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a fantastic race. I'm not an early morning person. It's pretty much the only thing that would get me to set my alarm for 6:30 in the morning, because the Hong Kong will come to the international races in a couple of weeks' time, but they're civilized sort of start a bit later. But this one's you got to get up early for. It's a great race, big field. Usually draws 18 horses. And because Japan is such a superpower middle distance racing, it's one of the great races in the calendar. It's one of the biggest betting races globally in the calendar, and the Japanese love their racing, and the racecourse is packed, and viewing figures are absolutely huge. And this year's edition is perhaps especially interesting for reasons we'll come to.
Yep. Obviously, we'll be previewing this through the lens of the UK bookmaker pricing. The markets will no doubt be pretty different in Japan, where they will probably not give as much respect to Calandagan as we are giving. But we'll get onto that, and we don't have the prices on screen, but we will reference them as we talk through the different horses and how we think they appeal at the various prices. So to make a start, let's have a look at the track itself. So Tokyo Racecourse. What should we know about the track? Are there any idiosyncrasies or anything unique? And what sort of challenges it present to the horses?
If I just could sum it up one word, it's fair. It's a proper fair test for 12 furlong horses, because it's a large circuit, like some of these tight American tracks where you go around the best part of twice around the track and tight bends. This is it's just they only go one and a bit circuits, and the straights are decent and long, and horses can get into full rhythm. It's a sand-based track, and it'll be riding firm, as Japanese, ground is often described when they've had good weather, and they've had good weather in Tokyo recently. But you shouldn't worry about it, being a sort of dangerous firm. This is, fair. There's elasticity in the turf. It's incredibly sophisticated, and the interesting challenge in a way is it's not completely flat, and this final straight, which obviously by American standards is long, comparing big international turf races, but it's also got a bit of an uphill. When you come into the straight, the first half furlong at least, you rise a couple of meters, and then you've got to sustain another 2 furlongs to the winning post, so that calls for stamina. But as you look at the bottom of the slide there, it's also a speed test. This is I think the fastest 2400 meter 12 furlong course in the world. Certainly the Almond Eyes 2.20.6061, I think. I think that is the fastest 2400 meter 12 furlong race run ever. And comparing that to what the British and the French are used to with their showpiece races, because I've got the Epsom Derby rather than Ascot, but that would also show a slower time. So yeah, you need speed, but you need stamina as well.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I mean, Almond Eye, there was a pacemaker, or one horse that went out very quickly in that race, and was wheeled in the straight and helped facilitate such a
particularly, I mean, I wasn't Equinoxes. Didn't Panthalassa go about a furlong clear at one point and fade in the straight? That's what I remember. But yeah, memory dims, but far back.
Yeah. So I was not aware of the hill, or the steep incline.
Hill is a strong word, but it is an incline, so there's a certain stiffness to that last 2.5 furlongs.
Nothing on Cheltenham there.
Perhaps not.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully they'll be finishing faster than they do in the Gold Hunt or National Hunt Chase. But let's move on and let's have a look at where the winners have come from historically, from 1981 to 2024. So spanning just less than your lifetime, I suspect. It looks like international winners used to perform a lot better than they do now. I know there's been massive push on Japanese breeding to get these middle distance horses up to sort of top international level. And is that what the difference is down to from 2005 onwards?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a really stark picture, isn't it? You know, sort of the home nation being sort of having to give their top trophy away for the first, sort of 25 years of the runnings. Most runnings going to foreign raiders, and that's an amazingly stark. That's why I put it in red.
Yeah.
With the last sort of 18 years, it's not just zero international winners. It's no international horse even making the podium 3 since I think Ouija board in 2006. And that's an incredibly damning statistic. Now, the numbers have gone down. And if you bring us on to the next slide, we'll talk about why the switch to host nation dominance rather than international. But they haven't dwindled to nothing. I mean, there were no runners, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, but usually there's 1, 2, 3. Last year there were 3. I think a few years ago there were 4. It's also the quality that have gone down. The really big stars, and with sort of apologies to Auguste Rodin, he wasn't a superstar. He was a very, very good horse, but he wasn't a superstar. And no, the cream that we can provide and a really good year don't go there. And so why? Yeah, I mean, these 3 things tie together. It's become more difficult to win because Japan has emerged as such a powerhouse as middle distance racing. In fact, many would argue, and I certainly would, that Japan has probably the deepest pool of middle distance runners of any single racing nation nowadays. And that's all to do with their huge investment in breeding. The small matter of a stallion called Sunday Silence, who they nicked off the Americans and has provided some of their best bloodlines, the deep impacts and so on. But also the top European horses in particular, they're thinking at the end of the season, well, we can go Breeders' Cup, but then for the Japan Cup, we've got to wait another month. And by that stage, they've been on the go since, March or April in many cases. Unlike the Japanese horses, which, like Hong Kong, where they're a really hot summer, tend to sort of sit out July and August for the most part. The top horses, they come back and they're fresh for an autumn campaign. And in a sense, why wouldn't you go to the US where the local competition is poor over 12 furlongs and the pot is big for the Breeders' Cup turf, and it's just sort of a better fit. So, but yeah, Japan's strength is a massive part of the reason.
Yeah, I mean, you can chuck a hurdler into the Breeders' Cup turf and you can come away with the win. So yeah, I don't know.
You literally can. I thought, a few weeks ago, I thought that would be a silly throwaway joke remark. It's actually true.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on and have a look at how the favourites have performed over the last decade. So as you can see from the far right-hand column, that shows the winners or where they were in the betting. And since 2015, there have been 6 favourites that have won and then 4 others that were very much towards the front end of the betting.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 10-year picture, which shows that basically just by throwing money blindly at the favourite, you'd actually be making money, and quite reasonably so. But I mean, the other factor in the mix is not just favourite. I mean, you are looking at a list of about 5 or 6 superstars here. Dojuice was the champion of his year, quite clearly. Best horse going into that race. Equinox was a superstar. Contrail, amazing. Wasn't he a Triple Crown winner or something before that? Armandai, nothing needs to be said about that. Dual winner. Gibson Black, another legendary horse. So they've had some absolute beasts, but it does show that in the last 10 years, taking a swing as an outsider, it's unlikely to bring you a winner. We'll have a look in a minute, when we look at the field instantly. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a standout star this year. I don't think there's one of the horses may go on to prove themselves, but we're not coming in here with an Equinox, a Contrail, and so an Armandai. So maybe shouldn't put too much stock in, but yeah, it's been very kind to favourite backers.
Okay. Well, we'll have a look at the impact of the draw and how much stock you should take from the draw bias and whether it exists or not. And you might want to talk us through the table, but immediately what I'm taking away is that the favourites tend to be drawn quite well and end up winning.
Yeah, exactly. It's a picture of, I've superimposed the color shading because without it, you look at these races. So the columns are, first, second, third, fourth. Who came, who filled the first four places left to right. That's what the numbers show. And then when you look at the number of runners in the left-hand column, minimum 14, but typically, the full field of 18 or 17. If you just looked at numbers without the shading, you'd think, good grief, this is an absolute horror show if you're drawn wide. You have to be drawn inside to win. The statistics are clear. But no, as always, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And in this case, when you look at where the good horses have been drawn, and this is where I think there's almost room for a conspiracy theory. Is the favourite plucking stalls 1, 2, or 3, or 4 every year? But that's what's happening. If you look at the green shading for the favourite, the favourite who's won, those 6 winning favourites, look at their draws: 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. It's absolutely extraordinary. What are the odds of that? And, you just take in isolation 2023, you see, stall 2 beats stall 1. Okay, outlier in third, and then 5 comes fourth, in a bias. But, 2 was Equinox, and he was 3 to 5. And 1 was Liberty Island, she was 5 to 2 second favourites. So, they were by far away the standout horses. So there's no great surprise. 2021, 2020, first, second, third favourites were all drawn 7 or lower. And that's just the way the draw has gone. This year, the favourite ain't that low. He's wide.
So would you count that as a negative then?
Well, broadly speaking, yes. I mean, you cover more distance. The run to the first bend is only basically a furlong and a half. So it's fine. If there's a really fast pace and some go straight to the front and they narrow funnels down into sort of groups of 2 and 3, then it's not so bad. Everyone slots into whatever. But if they're more crowded, then being wide, you'd have a decision. Are you using up your horse to go forward, or are you dropping in and just taking your medicine? So we won't know how the pace will play out. But broadly speaking, all the favourites, the big favourites, the big great horses, the last 10 years of the Champion Cup have drawn incredibly low. And this year's favourite, who'll be, by the way, a very short price, akin to, well, not Equinox, but certainly some of the others, this very short price is drawn 15 or 16 of 18. That is a different story. And I think it adds a big question mark over whether you want to back it at a short price.
Okay. Well, we are going to move on and we're going to have a look at the star foreign horse, probably the best horse that Europe has sent over for quite a while, and that is, of course, Calandagan. I assume you will all be very, very familiar with him. His form figures are exceptional, despite being supposedly sort of a little bit of a naughty horse, a tendency to misbehave. He has been remarkably consistent in Group 1s, and the long Tokyo Straight should play to his strengths. He's drawn decently, and he is actually clear top rated. I think he is the second highest rated horse in the world, only to Car Ying Rising.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of CV, what the horse has achieved over the totality of, say, their last 10 runs, obviously less for those horses who haven't run 10 times, but Calandagan is a complete standout. He's a standout on official handicapper ratings, although Japanese handicapper, I've been in good Japanese contacts, tell me that the Japanese handicapper is more conservative than some European equivalents. So maybe don't take that entirely. But on time form as well, he is the standout pick. And I mean, look at those form figures, those 7 Group 1s in the trot. But in the last 3, he's finally found, kick that runner-up streak. He's got 1-1-1. Those were all 3 good races, which got him big ratings, and he was dominant and he was impressive. And it's the consistency of delivering top-class performance that makes him a standout here. And then this is not one of the reasons they might have ducked Del Mar, short straight. He's like, sort of comes late with a sustained run. That's going to be much better off at Tokyo than it is on a US track. So I get that, as well as, of course, the much shorter turnaround, having gone to the Champion Stakes. America was off the cards, I guess. And he's drawn decently. So there's a lot to like.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get on to his price. What price is he now, Calandagan?
I got best 7-2.
7-2.
Bet 365 at the time of recording. Incidentally, the JRA have got local pool betting up. This will change dramatically over the next 24 hours, but looking live now, he's 9-2 in Japan. Most of my sort of people are following Joe, really know their Japanese racing, reckon he'll go off longer than that. So yeah, he's now vying for third favoritism.
Yeah, and
despite being by clearly the best horse in the race.
Yeah,
on what he's achieved.
So what do you make of 7-2?
Well, he opened up at 5-1, didn't he? And for those people who play the Japanese pools, he'll be longer. So he doesn't appeal. But I mean, we'll come on to perhaps the negatives of why you might not like him on this next slide. But that is very long for the best horse in the race, who's supremely consistent at his, over this trip. Reasons why you might not. Found a Saison, as he's a French horse, we'll give him a French idea of, it's the end of the year. Horses in Europe don't normally run in late November. It's just usually unheard of. He started back in March. Now, it's not true. He may have had a hard season in terms of hard races, but he hasn't had that many races. So it's long in the sense he started in March, but then there was a big break. Then he had his summer campaign, then a bit of a break. I don't think he's had that much of a season, but it's a question mark. Particularly when you come into point two, traveling across the world, long distance. He ran okay in Dubai, came second. We'll come to that in a minute, the horse he beat. The quarantine business in Japan is all a bit different, but they've improved that. They used to have to ship 50 miles west of Tokyo airport and quarantine there and then move to Tokyo. It's all a bit of a hassle, but now they've got bespoke facilities at Tokyo. So that's improved. But I still think, he's never run in a Japanese style 18-horse field. He's never raced on the Tokyo racetrack surface. He should handle it fine. He definitely handles fast ground fine. He prefers it. But these are unknowns. So you've got all of these unknowns, and you'll forgive me my last bullet, I'm sure, won't you?
I know. It's a drum we've beat for the entirety.
This is not just because of my long-held view that Barcelona loses far more races than he should, giving horses exaggerated hold-up rights. He was great on Darius in the Arc. He can put in a top performance. Of course he can. He's a very good jockey. But here, he's got to get the timing of that run in an 18-horse field, by the way, in which case he may find trouble, just right. If he goes like too early into that final drive, a lot of horses just don't get home at Tokyo. And if he leaves it too late and the others have got the jump on him, he'll do his thing of finally finishing an honorable third or second. So he's got to get it just right. And Barcelona is the least experienced jockey in Japan over Tokyo racecourse. He's never won he's raced there, but he's never won a Group 1 there. He's never won a Group 2 there. I throw it out cheekily for what it's worth. They're loyal. They were always going to use Barcelona. Why didn't they get Oisin Murphy? Well, Oisin Murphy's he's absolute mustard in Japan. He's won Japan Cups. He's got a brilliant strike rate. Anyway, yeah, I'll leave that little gripe alone. But he is an unknown. He is the least experienced jockey when it comes to riding Tokyo racehorse. And in a field of 18, he's got to get so much right.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of horses to pass if he drops them out like he has in the past. We'll move on to the three big Japanese horses. So that we've got Masquerade Ball, Croix du Nord, who we did see over in France this year, and then Danon Decile, who I believe beat Calandagan earlier in the year as well. So who'd you like to talk about first? The favourite, Masquerade Ball?
Yeah, start from the top. Take the favourite. I mean, we'll almost certainly start favourite on all markets. You're getting best 5-2 UK. He's currently 2-1 in Japanese pools, and I suspect he might go start shorter than that. I would have thought, between even money and 2-1, I'd be very surprised if he was bigger than that. Le Maire, what you've got to need to know about before you do Masquerade Ball is Le Maire is just winning every Group 1 in Japan at the moment. He's always been a top-notch rider, but he's riding the crest of a wave, and that will take money in itself. Plus, Masquerade Ball is an absolutely brilliant winner of the all-age Tenno Show autumn version. They have 2 Tenno shows. There's a spring one as well. That was a few weeks ago. 10 furlongs. looked really, really good in winning that. The closing splits were absolutely superb. So I get why he's favourite. I just have a couple of question marks. He's faced Croix du Nord 3 times in their respective careers, and he's lost every single time. Now, you could say, well, the Japanese Derby Masquerade Ball didn't get going till too late, and perhaps that's true. But I mean, those are facts. They've raced against each other 3 times. Croix du Nord has won every single time. He hasn't won once they were second and third. But either way, Croix du Nord's backside is the only thing Masquerade Balls has seen when they've raced against each other 3 times. I think that's worth something, as in it's a negative for Masquerade Ball. He also hasn't won over 12 furlongs, right? The 10 furlongs, the tenor show was 10. So you combine wide stall, 15 of 18, 12 furlongs, slight question mark, very short price, and the fact that he's been shown to be better 3 out of 3 times against his other big Japanese 3-year-old rival. I think there are enough question marks to avoid him, and at that price, and I would. You could not that long ago. You could get sort of 5 to 1, 6 to 1 about this horse, but I wouldn't go near him between even money and 2 to 1. Not that favourites have done their thing, but favourites have always been drawn low, right? And many of them have been superstars. He hasn't proven he's a superstar. He's had 1 brilliant race and a couple of really promising races. So it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah, you referenced the backside of Croix du Nord being a negative for Masquerade Ball, but do you also see it as a positive? I mean, obviously it is a positive, but I thought it was interesting that you pointed it as a negative for Masquerade Ball and didn't use it as a tool to sing Croix du Nord's praises at this price.
Well, the Croix du Nord, you see, they come with different question marks. Croix du Nord, was a really excellent winner of the Japanese Derby. It was clear of Masquerade Ball. He was closing late, but still, he was a clear winner of that race. And they took the bold European campaign route. And I want to draw people's attention to what I think was one of the greatest Group 3 races ever run, the Prix du Prince d'Orange. You had the Japanese Derby winner facing off against what we now know was the Arc winner a few weeks later. This was an incredible performance by Croix du Nord. Now, various commentators at the time and afterwards, and social media and journalists and so on, said, Darius, not given a great ride. That man Barcelona again, left too much to do. But don't forget, Croix du Nord, he won it. He won it with a Group 1 penalty. Darius had a Group 2 penalty. So he was giving Darius weight, and they were both giving the rest of the field a half a stone of sorts. So he was giving him weight, and he beat him. And it was on ground that Croix du Nord probably hated. He looked like he hated it that day. And then he went to the Arc, very wide draw, tried to offset that by going forward, but outside was a horrible place to be. Soft ground again. No. I can forgive him the Arc run, and I would be all over him like a rash, were it not for the doubt about his participation here. They only decided to go here 2-3 days ago after the final gallop. And after the final gallop, they didn't even get his jockey, Kitamura, to do it. They got a different jockey to ride him for a different opinion. Now, that doesn't, to me, scream out certainty that this horse is absolutely at the top of his game. So he's got, it's that long recovery from the French trip. They gave him time and they built him back up. And we don't know if he's ready. If he is on top form, if I knew he was coming here and they were screaming, he's absolutely kicking and squealing and we can't wait for the race, he'd be a price of the ages and I'd be all over him. As it is, I might still bet him, win bet, but I wouldn't go near him each way, certainly.
Yeah, I think it's 7 to 1 at the minute, Croix du Nord with William Hill. I forgot I have not actually mentioned that we are recording this at about 5:30 on Friday evening. So that is your timestamp for the prices we've got. Next up, we will discuss Danon Decile, and by we, I mean Daniel. So Daniel, take it away.
Yeah, just briefly, finally on Croix du Nord. Yeah, he's drawn 2. So unlike the other 2 big Japanese hopes, Masquerade Ball and Danon Decile, he's drawn low. Danon Decile, if Croix du Nord was a 25 Japanese winner, Danon Decile was a 24 Japanese Derby winner, and the Tokyo Yushun. And over the next page, we'll come to in a minute, Testiera was the 23 Derby winner. So they've really all lined up these former Tokyo Yushun winners. It's really, really impressive. And Danon Decile, that was not one outlier on his card. He then won his return earlier this year and goes and wins the Shima Classic in Dubai. and he beats none other than Calandagan. Now, again, it's one of the situations where people say, "Oh, Calandagan, was given too much to do. Can't imagine what jockey would do. Oh, it must be Barcelona, yeah." But basically, Danon Decile did win that, and he looked good winning it. So he's a proper Group 1 animal. They took him to Europe for a different thing, knowing he didn't want soft ground. They thought, "We'll not risk that. We'll take him to the Juddmonte International," and there he fell apart. He'd actually fallen apart. I get the impression from everything I've read and listened to that he'd lost it before he left the betting ring. He was really on edge and nervous and unhappy. That pacemaker went wild. He led the chasing pack. He then fell in a hole. But you can chuck that out, because you can chuck out most of the horses that finished out the back in that race, can't you? Delacroix goes and wins the Irish Champion Stakes. Darius wins the the Art of Triomphe. It's a chucker. It's a throw out. Just don't worry about it. He has been training. Looks like he's training really well. All the vibes from the stable are good. Ladbrokes did have him 8-1 earlier today. They cut to 13-2, which is unfortunate because they were doing 4 places. But 13-2, I should think he'll start off shorter in Japan. Got a good chance. You've got to forgive August run in England, but this is a good horse.
Okay. Right, that is the big 3 from Japan covered, and let's move on to the next tier. So the aforementioned Testiera, 23 Japanese Derby winner, drawn widest of all. That must be a bit of a concern.
It's an absolute horror. It's an absolute horror. This is a horse I wasn't actually expecting to go there. I thought he'd go back to Hong Kong, to the Hong Kong Cup, take on Romantic Warrior again. He was 3rd to Romantic Warrior last year in the Hong Kong Cup, and he won over the same trip in Hong Kong in April, Group 1. Really good horse. It's sort of odd profile in that, won the 23 Derby, but then he kind of went off form for a bit. But he truly got it back from about a year ago onwards. He was 2nd to Dodus, who was the champion Japanese horse last year in the Tenno Show. Wasn't beaten that far. 3rd to Romantic War, as I said, wins in Hong Kong Group 1. Then he has a big break. He comes back in the Tenno Show where he looks good. He surges into the lead with a furlong and a half to go. But he dies. And I think the thinking is maybe it hasn't seen so much fitness, but he just went too soon with the flow of the race, and he was swallowed up. If Damien Lane gets it better this time, perhaps his timing than he did last time, and if he's okay, if he's still at his best over 12 furlongs, because all of his previous racing for the last few runs has been over 10, he would be dangerous. And I'd be interested, but the 18 is a throw out for me. I think,
Okay.
I'm sitting on the fence with him, but then he gets the 18, and I know which side of the fence I'm going now. I'm off him.
Yeah. Justin Palace, very good Group 1 horse, but maybe lacks a stardom for this.
I've got a soft spot for this guy. I've got a soft spot for this guy. I mean, just look at the stats. This guy, at his last 20 races, 18 have been Group 1s. And 2 have been Group 2s. His last 13 runs have been Group 1s. I challenge anyone, put it in the chat, find me a horse that has run 13 consecutive Group 1s in a row. Has it ever been done? I couldn't find one. I looked up, your Winks and your Black Caviars, but dip into Group 2 to pick up easy pickings. Anyway, the bottom line is he's always thrown into the heat of battle. And he hasn't won a Group 1 for a couple of years. The problem is he's coming 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th in these 18 horse fields often. Really good solid horse. He just can't quite get it done. I can't help feeling there's a big one in him, and his Tenno Show was really eye-catching. He wasn't far behind Masquerade Ball. I think it was his best run for quite some time. And if you look at the straight run in the Tenno Show, he has trouble. He has to switch. That thing where the jockey pulls a horse's head to move him round another horse, and it all looks awkward. He did all of that. He must have lost a length or 2. He wasn't beaten that much. So, look, he flatters to deceive in terms of delivering wins and even delivering places 1, 2, 3 sometimes, but he's a really good horse, and I thought that was more than sneaky good that last run. He's a threat. Justin Palace, what can you get? He's, by the way, he's less than 9-1 on the Japanese tote at the moment. That may change, these Japanese tote prices, but you can get Tastiera's 20s, Justin Palace's 16s. There are only 14s with Ladbrokes and Corals, by the way, the only ones playing 4 places at the time of recording. I expect the Flutter pair to go 4, and maybe Bet3 will join them when they switch it to their 24-hour book.
Okay. Emperor next. When you mentioned having a soft spot, I assume this would be the horse.
No, it's just Justin Palace, and that they just
Yeah.
never give this horse a break and point him to an easy Group 2. They say nope, he's Group 1 horse again and again and again and again and again. I do like Shin Emperor. I mean, he's a really interesting horse. He hasn't had that much racing. He was one of our 2 AntePoster picks for this race. We put up Danon Decile, didn't we, at 10-1 a couple of weeks ago. Which was a good bet in terms of where the price has gone. This one is not a good bet in terms of the price has gone, because he's not having much love at all. And one bookmaker, I think, is doing 25s on Shin Emperor. I think he's going to be ignored by many people. The draw's not great in 16, but it's difficult to forget that he was runner-up in this last year. And like this one wasn't like beaten 2 lengths run-up. He was beaten a neck. He dead heated for second. And you can forgive. I think you have to forgive a lot with this horse. You forgive the arc flop, a year ago in soft ground. That's what Japanese horses do, don't they? Flop in soft ground in the arc. And I think you can definitely forget his European campaign, which was going to have the arc again in his sights this year. Never got to the arc because he finished 6th or 7th in the Irish Champions Stakes, but had a lung infection. So complete excuse for that. This is Yahagi. He gets one ready. He can get one ready to run the race of its life, and he might do this again. Didn't draw well. Having drawn 16, I'm not sure, and it sounds silly, I'm not even sure that I'd recommend him as a bet now, having put him up at 20s, because the 16 is a clear negative for me. But he's apparently put on a lot of weight and muscle. He's really grown into his 4-year-old frame, training $1 million. He's an unknown. He's a bit of a wild card. I think the Japanese are avoiding him, by the way, as well. He's big price in the Japanese tote because he's not really Japanese. I mean, he is Japanese trained, but he's bred Sotsas, isn't he? And he's campaigned in Europe 2 years running. Yeah. So I think he's going to go on the radar. If he starts going off, silly prices, I wouldn't be able to leave him out. I think it's
okay. Well, is 25 a silly price?
It's getting there slowly. Yeah, maybe 4 places, but they're not. That's only a 3-place merchant. See how all these prices, bookmaker terms, and these prices have to be monitored. Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's move on to some interesting long shots. Conscious that we are over half an hour through and we are yet to even cover half of the fields, but of those at a bigger price, you pulled 5 outs here that are of interest. Do you want to talk us through them?
Yeah, you're right. We are over the half-hour mark. Don't worry, I'm sort of rattling through these. These are of the last 11 horses. 6 are basically throwouts, which we'll deal with in 40 seconds. And these are the 5 that I think have, got a shout of placing. And maybe a win looks a bit too far-fetched, but each one has something interesting going for it. Admire Terra, a 4-year-old. Lightly raced. Possible we haven't seen the best of this one yet. He's only been to Tokyo Racecourse once. It was a Group 2. But he won it. Now, he was only 4th in his prep, the Kyoto Daishoten. A number of these are coming out of this race. That was another Group 2. But he had a weight penalty in that, and it was his first run for many months. This is the target. This guy could have more upside. He's dangerous. I think he's... wait a minute, what have we got on Admire Terra? 33s, but only 16s with one paying... the 4 places. So again, watch. I think at 33s you get 4 places. This one comes interesting. Bredovec, you could say, is a throwout at first glance. She was a really, really good 3-year-old. Lots of Group 1s, lots of high-level racing and a Group 1 winner. Lots of runs in Group 1s. Tom Marquand on board. She's been out of form for quite a while now. Except last time, when she was 10th of 18 in the Tenno show, she had the horror run of all horror runs in the stretch, almost snatched up at one point. I have no idea how many lengths she lost. She was only beaten 3 lengths. That, I think, was her first run for a long time. And the icing for this as an outsider, which really interests me, and you're in sort of 66's territory, they're not yet with a 4.
Just with Unibet, though, so it won't last long.
Yeah, well, listen, we'll see. I don't think there's going to be much love there. But what's interesting about Bredovec is she's not tried over this distance. And the most she's ever run on over is 11 furlongs once, and she won it. And not a little bit doubtful on the breeding because she's basically out of a sprinter, but I think he produced Almond Eye, if I remember right. She's worth a go. If she handles this trip, she's got a good stretch run. If she gets luck in running, not impossible for a place. She might just flop again, two back, three back, pretty grim. But last time out looked good. If she's getting back to her best, interesting. Deep Monster, Deep Impact, like Justin Palace, Deep Impact running out of time to get another Japan Cup run. This horse you'd think was a throw because he's 7. He's never won a Group 1. He's come 7th, 16th, and 5th in his 3 Group 1s. But he's in the form of his life. His last 3 runs have arguably been the best of his life, and he won the Kyoto Daishoten, which is a classic prep for this race with the best last 3 furlong splits. I don't know where this improvement has come from, age 7, but he's in the form of his life. I'll give him that. Duretza, brutally disappointing in his last few runs. This horse is completely out of form. Last year he did heated for 2nd, but he was given a canny ride by Buick, who realised there was no pace on and pushed him right up to the front, and that was the place to be. He's so out of form. He's got a dreadful draw. I'm not going to go near him, but it's difficult to forget that he was only beaten a neck 2nd last year. Sunrise Earth, another lightly raced 4-year-old. It was 4th in the Japanese Derby last year. Decent sort, probably not good enough. But he was 2nd in this Kyoto Daishoten, which a few of these are coming out of. And he's just one of the few other horses who might have some upside. I don't quite see it. I think I'm going to play Bredavec. I'm waiting. I'm hoping to get an absolute monster price on Bredavec. And I think I'll throw a few at my Terror as well.
Yeah, and my Terror is 33's best price. Bredavec 66.
Duretza 40s, Sunrise 40s, Deep Monster 50s. Yeah. I'd be wonderful. What a wonderful story if Deep Monster, son of Deep Impact, wins this age 7. Doubt it somehow, but anyway, intriguing.
Okay, so we've then got the complete outsiders, the 6 that you mentioned before being no hopers. So I will set the 40 seconds timer and see if you can get through it in that time.
Let's do it. Yoho Lake was almost on the previous slide. She's one of the 4 coming out of the Kyoto Daishen, and she was giving away. He was giving away a bit of weight. Then he's also 7. Missed 2 years with injury. Why I put him ultimately on this slide is he's come 7th and 7th. There's only 2 Tokyo races, but he's a monster, by the way. 540 kilos, biggest horse in the field, heaviest horse in the field. HO Biscuits ran 1 brilliant race last year. It was 3rd to Doduce in the Tennis Show. He hasn't done much else. He was 2nd last in the Tennis Show last time. I don't think he wants 12 furlongs, and he's got the stupidest name of a horse I've ever seen, so he deserves to be on this list. At the bottom of this list, Sion Hades. He's a Group 3 winner who's out of his depth. He's running 3 Group 1s. He's come 11th, 17th, and 7th. No. Struve, even worse, 6-year-old, Group 1 record, 3 races, 11th, 10th, 10th. What is he doing here? It's just, I would get annoyed in racing in Europe. All these horses who don't have a prayer, they're just like making trouble and running for good horses. I don't like it. But anyway, whatever. Cosmo Coranda, career highlight, 2nd in the Japanese 2,000 guineas last year. He's in terrible form. And the only time he's run over 12 furlongs, he's beat by most of these. No, he's just a throwout. Danon Beluga, final word for final horse. This was once a high-class horse, and he's got a couple of really good runs on his CV. Particularly, unfortunately, though, for him, these have been in Dubai. Meydan, he's come within a length of winning the Dubai Turf twice. But he's in absolutely dismal form. Even at his best, he was never top class in Japan. Group 1 record, 443, 446. Honourable, but basically he's a poor man's Justin Palace, and unlike Justin Palace, he's in bad form. What odds have we got for that mob? I'll give you the Jap prices if you give me the Euro prices.
Danon and Cosmo are 150s, Sion Hades 100s, Struve 100s, HO Biscuits 100s, and Yoho Lake 66s.
Yeah, and they're all over 100 to 1 in Japan, and Struve is 300 to 1. The Japanese tote at the time of recording, but as per previous, those Japanese tote prices will change hugely over the next 48 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is all the slides that we have to go through. Is there anything you'd like to say to summarize the Japan Cup?
No, not really. The AntePoster put up, Danon Decile at 10s. Of of the three top Japanese in the market, I think he's. I know it sounds crazy to say, but I kind of feel he's the one with the least question marks, despite that August run. I just think Masquerade Ball is such a short price on the basis of having been beaten by Croix du Nord 3 times. This is not yet a great horse. He's got one really impressive run last time, but to suddenly crown him at 6-4, I can't get there. I get Calandagan. I get anyone who bet Calandagan. He's got to have a chance, and I can't wait to see it. But no, I'm gonna have a couple of outsiders and just watch for pleasure, I think.
Yeah. Okay, exciting. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a very good race. I will potentially wake up for it. I'm not sure yet.
You won't. You won't. You're anywhere near your alarm clock at 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. I know you.
No. If it's not the Ashes, then I'm not interested in waking you. But yeah. Thank you very much for watching. We've also got some quite exciting news that we've got a big Hong Kong preview podcast that we are recording next weekend, including 2 pretty special guests. We'll reveal those at some point during the week on X, and we're very excited to have them along. Two experts. They will certainly put me to shame, but looking forward to getting their views too, and looking forward to doing the podcast. But yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the style. Obviously, it was quite an informative piece today, given I know the Japan Cup isn't a huge race on the Europeans' radar. So hopefully you
should be.
Let us know. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we look forward to speaking to you again soon. Goodbye.